How many times has it happened to you that you park your car and then it just seems to disappear? So you walk around the parking lot endlessly, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to remember where you left it. Or maybe you're in a hurry and you need to write down someone's number but don't have a phone on you, so you try to memorize it only to forget it like 5 seconds later. No matter what the case may be, memory is a very important aspect of our intelligence. And of course, just being able to memorize things aimlessly isn't everything you need in life, but it can certainly make things a whole lot easier. I've personally used the techniques I'm going to share with you to memorize all the digits of pi up to 100 digits. I've also been able to memorize 50 elements of the periodic table in just 15 minutes using these techniques, and I regularly use these to memorize long lists and facts in tests in university. Plus, it's always a cool conversation starter when I tell people that I can memorize any 50 objects they tell me from the middle and pretty much from anywhere else, and I can do that in under 2 minutes without making a mistake. And trust me, I'm not exceptionally intelligent or anything, it's just that these techniques are that powerful. So listen up, because these are the same techniques that are used by the memory champions around the world. So this technique is called the method of LOCI, and it is the basis for all extraordinary feats of memory performed by ordinary people. You might have seen this technique being referenced in the TV show Sherlock. The basis of this technique is that we as humans can remember spatial details much more than anything else. You may not remember the names of your neighbors, but you will never forget what your childhood home looked like. Or even the fact that you cannot exactly remember when you met a stranger, but you can accurately remember where you met them. For most of us, spatial memory is the strongest, and that is what we will use in this technique. So in the method of LOCI, you basically create a memory palace. This can be any physical location that you know the ins and outs of. So it would be best if you chose something like your high school or the house in which you grew up. Once you have this place in mind, now you need to decide a path. So for example, you start at the doorway, and then you go to the living room, and then the kitchen, then upstairs, and then some other room, etc. And then you end on the garage. This is really important, as this will be the path that you will be using every time you try to remember something, so choose this path carefully. The next thing you need to do is fix certain points in every location, hence the name LOCI. It's very important that you fix these locations to places that are distinct and something which makes sense to you, because these will be your anchor points and will be the bedrock of this technique. Try not to jumble too many anchor points in together, because then you'll start to get confused. So for example, in my memory palace, I start my path on my doorway, and then I go to the bathroom right next to the entrance. And I have 5 anchor points inside the bathroom: the clothes rack, the toilet, the shower, the sink, and the water heater. That's it, no more and no less. These points make sense to me, and similarly you should choose points that make sense to you. Then I continue my journey to my living room, where I have 4 anchor points, and so on until I end my journey in my bedroom. Once you've decided the path and the anchor points, now we're ready for the fun part. Let's say you have to memorize these 5 objects: shoe, dog, apple, t-shirt, and baseball bat. Now imagine you're going on your path, and on your first anchor point, put the shoe in your mind. Now here is the most important point. Give the shoe a reason to be there. And the more weird and funny and out of the box you can make that reason, the more likely you are to remember that thing. The more details you add, the better. So here's how I would memorize these 5 objects. I put a shoe on my clothes rack in the bathroom because it was stinking of eggs. My dog is throwing up in the toilet because he tried to eat a cat, and cats are not good for digestion. The apple is taking a shower because he is getting ready to be eaten and is pretty excited about it, and so on. So you see, the weirder the details are, the more it's going to stick in your mind. So in this method, we have used 2 of the most fundamental things about why we remember something. We remember things that are out of the ordinary, things that are weird, and we remember physical locations very well. If you want to remember numbers using this technique, you can do it just as easily. All you have to do is assign a mental symbol to each of the 10 digits. So the number 0 can be an egg, 1 can be a broomstick, 7 can be a gun, and 8 can be a snowman, and so on. Once you've assigned these symbols, you go through your memory palace again. Put each of these symbols on one of your anchor points, and again, this is very important, give them a reason to be there. The first 5 digits of pi are 3.14159. So here's how I would memorize it. The broomstick is on my clothes rack because I've put it horizontally and want to do a pull-up. The number 4 is represented by a chair, so I put it over the toilet because I don't want to sit on a dirty toilet. And again, I'm pretending that I'm on American Idol, so I use another broomstick while under the shower and give a wonderful performance to a non-existent audience. And on it goes. You can remember a lot of things using this method. Once you're comfortable with this method, you can start to experiment. The way I learned the 100 digits of pi was by a large story that was playing out in my school, and every little detail inside the story represented a number. Like a balloon flying away would be the number 9. And things like that. Another thing I'd like to tell you is that once you start to get the hang of this, you will need other memory palaces. This is because sometimes you might get confused and you'll start to remember older objects because you've placed them in your mind in a very effective way. That's alright, it's not like you'll waste your memory palaces, you'll just have to rewrite them a little bit. The reason this method is so powerful after you've been doing this for a while is that it almost becomes effortless to remember exactly where you placed a particular thing. As all of my anchor points are completely fixed and I know my memory palace very well. This is why I can remember a list of up to 50 objects with no problem at all. More than that, I can name the 21st object or maybe like the 45th object without counting down to it because I know exactly where my anchor points are. These are exactly the same techniques that memory world champions used to memorize a deck of 52 cards in under a minute. You can remember everyone's name using these techniques. Seriously guys, this is one of the best memory hack there is and you'll be missing out if you don't try this. I hope you learned something new in this video, and if you did, then please click the like button. Share this video if you feel like it'll help someone else. Subscribe if you want more insight in your life, and thanks for watching.